Hi guys, how are you all? Hope you're all doing great and preparing well for your NEET 2026. So, today I'm going to explain you about the animal kingdom part 1, which is about non-chordates, in a very simple way because it's a quite big lesson and quite complicated. I'll tell you some tricks how to remember, and some mind maps will be given by me to remember in a short way. First of all, try to remember this mind map of animal kingdom. It has two subkingdoms, which is Parazoa and Eumetazoa. Parazoa includes Porifera, which is of sponges. Eumetazoa is again divided into two classes, which is Radiata and Bilateral. Radiata is having two layers, so it's called as diploblastic, and bilateral is having three layers, it's called triploblastic. The two phylums which are included in this diploblastic are Ctenophora and Coelenterata. And in this bilateral, you will be having again two classes, which is protostomes and the other one is called deuterostomes. In the case of protostomes, first the mouth will be formed. In again protostomes, you will be having three types of coelomates: acoelomates, pseudocoelomates, schizocoelomates. Acoelomate means there will be no coelom present. Pseudocoelomates means false coelomate. And the other one is schizocoelomate, and this enterocoelomate which comes from the deuterostomes, where first anus will be formed and not the mouth. Both the schizocoelomates and enterocoelomates together are called as two coelomates, also known as eucoelomates. In the case of acoelomates, you'll have the phylum Platyhelminthes. In the case of pseudocoelomates, you'll have Aschelminthus. In case of schizocoelomates, you'll be having Annelida, Arthropoda and Mollusca. In case of enterocoelomates, you'll be having Echinodermata, Hemichordata and Chordata. Tomorrow in the examination paper, they might ask you, Platyhelminthes is acoelomates or pseudocoelomates or schizocoelomates. Then you should be able to answer that it's a acoelomate. Or they can give you, which of the following is a triploblastic, and the options might be as Ctenophora, Coelenterata, sponges, and someone from here which is like Annelida. Then the answer will be Annelida. That's the reason why this mind map is so much required and important. And the same thing here is also given, so that you can copy from here also. Now the first trick how you should learn this animal kingdom is that you should write down all the examples of all the phylums of non-chordates. In the first phylum, which is the Porifera, it is Cycon, Spongilla and Euspongia. So that you can easily remember that what all examples are coming under different phylums. In Cycon, you have Cypha. Spongilla is also known as freshwater sponge. These are the actual names, like normal names, and these are scientific names. Cycon is a scientific name. Spongilla is also a scientific name. These are common names. The down one are common names. These are scientific names. Spongia is also known as bot sponge. In Coelenterata, which is also known as Cnidaria, has Physalia, Adamsia, Pinacula, Gorgonia and Mandrina. The common names are Portuguese man of war, sea anemone, sea pen, sea fan and brain coral for Mandrina. In Ctenophora, it has two examples, which is Pleurobrachia and Ctenoplana. Only the scientific names are mentioned according to NCERT, and no other common names are given for Ctenophora. The next one is Platyhelminthes, which has Taenia and Fasciola. Taenia's common name is Stapon, Fasciola's common name is liver fluke. So as you go down, try to write down all the examples of the given phylums and try to by heart all these examples of the given phylums, so that when they can ask you a question, like if they ask something about Ascaris, You can remember all the characteristics and features of Aschelminthus. Then automatically you can able to discover that this belongs to the phylum Aschelminthus. If they give you any description about mollusca and give you examples of locusta and bombyx and one phyla, then you should tick phyla. So after writing down all the examples and by hearting them till hemichordates, all these phylums, Porifera, Coelenterata, Ctenophora, Platyhelminthes, Aschelminthus, Annelida, Arthropoda, Mollusca, Hemichordata, Echinodermata, all these come under non-chordates. Why they are called as non-chordates? The question is asked like that. The thing is that it's called as non-chordates because it has no notochord. If this was present, then that would be called as chordate. As it is not present, that's the reason why it's called as non-chordates. Once you write down all these examples and by heart them, then it will become more easier for you to study. Now let's go directly to the NCERT so you can understand each and every word. So every line will be taught by me and I'll explain you each and every line, and there's nothing to worry about that. So let's go. Animal kingdom. First I'm going to explain you about the non-chordates. Basis of classification. Mostly this part is not that much important if you can just read it for a brief introduction. In the basis of classification, in spite of differences in structure and the form of different animals, there are fundamental features common to various individuals in relation to the arrangement of cells, body, nature of coelom. So what he's saying that based on the arrangement of cells and symmetry of body or body symmetry and nature of coelom and pattern of digestive, circulatory, reproductive systems, the classification has been done. You should remember this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. These 6 points are very important in this exam because they might ask you based on what they have done the classification. So you should remember the 6 points based on the arrangement of cells, symmetry of body, the nature of coelom, digestive, circulatory, reproductive. In NEET 2025, this question was actually asked. They asked you like based on what characteristics this classification has been done. Based on the 6 points which I told you, remember this and underline and highlight these points. From here, arrangement of the cells to the reproductive system. Okay, this line is very important, and these features are used as a basis of classification of animals, and some are discussed. So levels of organization. Though all members of Animalia are multicellular, Even all of the members are multicellular, all of them do not exhibit the same pattern of organization, and that's true. Some of them have different patterns of organization of cells. For example, in sponges, the cells are arranged in a loose cell aggregates. Means how the cells will be arranged in the case of sponges, it won't be arranged so much tightly, okay? It will be arranged like a loose cells aggregates. All the cells loosely are packed and combined to form the sponges, and they exhibit cellular level of organization. What level is exhibited by the sponges? Sponges exhibit cellular level of organization because only cells are present as a basic unit and the fundamental unit. Some division of labor can occur in the cells. So we can see some division of labor in case of sponges. In cylinderates, the arrangement of the cells is more complex. When compared to sponges, cylinderates have complex arrangement of the cells. The cells perform the same function, are arranged into tissues. So in the case of cylinderates, the cells collaborate and form together a tissue performing specific function. So that's why it's called as tissue level of organization is seen in the case of cylinderates, and it's more complex than sponges, okay? The cell organization. Next, a higher level of organization, organ level, is exhibited by the members of platyhelminthes. Then platyhelminthes started to exhibit other higher level of organization, which is organ level of organization, and other higher phyla where tissues are grouped together from organs. So what is the tissues forming? Now the tissues are forming the organs, each specialized for a particular function in animals like Annelida, Arthropoda and Mollusca. You can observe this tissue level of organization in Annelida and Arthropoda and Mollusca also. So in this 4, you can observe the tissue level of organization, which is higher level of organization, organ level, not tissue level. The next, this is radial symmetry and this is bilateral symmetry. What is radial symmetry and what is bilateral symmetry are some of the basic things which you should know while studying the topic. First, the radial symmetry. I'll give you the definition if you wanted. Radial symmetry: any longitudinal plane passing through the central axis of the body divides the organism into two identical halves. So as you can see, if there is an organism like this and there is a plane which is only passing through the central axis, this is called as central axis, and only a plane which is passing through the central axis can divide this organism into two equal and identical halves. Then it's called as radial symmetry. And if it's not like that, the other case is the bilateral symmetry, where only one longitudinal plane passing through the center of the body divides the organism into two identical right and left half. is called as bilateral symmetry. What it actually means is that in the case of radial symmetry, the organism can be divided into two equal halves when it's passing through the central axis in any plane. But in case of this is radial bilateral symmetry, only one plane, only one plane can divide it into two identical halves, which is right half and left half. This is bilateral symmetry. Now, echinoderms and chordates organs have associated to form functional systems, each system concerned with a specific physiological function, and that pattern is called as organ system. They might ask you, what is organ system? They might give you this description and ask you, is that a tissue system or a cell system or organ system? Then you should say yes, it's organ system. The organ systems in different groups of animals exhibit various patterns of complexities. For example, the digestive pattern will be different in the case of platyhelminthes, as it has only one opening, which is single opening from outside of the body that serves as both mouth and anus. Platyhelminthes is having only one opening, a single opening, which serves as both mouth and anus. In the case of a digestive system, it's a digestive system pattern, hence it's called as incomplete. That's why, as it has only single opening, for it serves as both mouth and anus. That's the reason why platyhelminthes is having incomplete digestive system. A complete digestive system has two openings, mouth and anus. If it has two openings, if any organism is having two openings for mouth and for anus, then it will be called as complete digestive system. Same thing happens in the case of circular system, which is open type and closed type. Open type, in which the blood is pumped out of the heart and the cells and tissues are directly bathed in it. So it says, even in the circulatory system there are two types. It's open and the other one is closed. In this open case, all these organs will be bathed. All these organs will be bathed in the blood. But in the case of closed, the blood is circulated through a series of vessels of varying diameter, like arteries, veins, and capillaries. Here the organs will not be floating in the blood, Here the blood will be carried out by veins or arteries or capillaries. Next is the circular symmetry, body symmetry. It can be asymmetrical or it can be symmetrical. Animals can be classified on the basis of the body symmetry. Sponges are mostly asymmetrical, means they do not have any body symmetry. They do not have any symmetry, means particular shape. Any plane that passes through the center does not divide them into two equal halves, as they do not have proper symmetry and they are symmetrical. Any plane which is passing through the center, which is because the body is like asymmetrical like this without a definite shape, which is passing through the center axis, cannot divide into two equal halves. Cannot divide into two equal halves in the cases of asymmetrical like sponges. It's called as radial symmetry. Such kind of thing is called as radial symmetry. Cylindrites, ctenophora, and echinoderms have this kind of body plan. Animals like annelids, arthropods, where the body can be divided into equal left and right halves, is only in one plane. Only one plane. This you should remember, not in two planes, Only in one plane. That is bilateral symmetry. In bilateral symmetry, the organisms will be symmetrical, like I told you as before. Annelida, arthropoda, they have bilateral symmetry, means the body can be divided into two equal halves because they are symmetrical. They have a definite shape. They won't be like this, like an asymmetrical thing. They'll be having a definite shape. A definite shape is provided for this bilateral animals, so they have bilateral symmetry. They can be divided into two equal halves by passing through one plane. One plane is enough. The next one, diploblastic and triploblastic organization. The first image indicates the diploblastic, means it has two layers, only two layers, endoderm and ectoderm. Endoderm is the inner layer, ectoderm is the outer layer. Mesoglia is just a filled part between the endoderm and ectoderm. It's not a layer. Okay, so diploblastic has two layers, ectoderm and endoderm. Endoderm innermost, ectoderm outer. In case of triploblastic, it has three layers, ectoderm, endoderm, and also mesoderm, which is lying between the ectoderm and endoderm. As you can see, the mesoderm lies between the endoderm and ectoderm. That's called as triploblastic. Animals in which cells are arranged into two embryonic layers, the external ectoderm and internal endoderm, are called diploblastic. What is external and what is internal should be remembered. Okay. Example is ciliated for the diploblastic. An undifferentiated layer, mesoglia, is present between the ecto and endoderms. Those animals in which the developing embryo has a third germinal layer, mesoderm, which has third germinal layer, mesoderm, in between the ecto and endo, it's called as triploblastic animal, like the platyhelminthes to chordates, which I told you before. From platyhelminthes to the chordates, what all phylums are coming under that? Phylum platyhelminthes, Aschelminthes, Annelida, Arthropoda, Mollusca, Echinodermata, and Chordata. So what he's saying that from platyhelminthes to the chordates, all these are belonging to the triploblastic. Okay, means they're having the three germinal layers, which is ectoderm, mesoderm in the middle, and the endoderm. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All these 7 phylums. Next, coelom. Presence or absence of a coelom between the body wall and the gut wall is very important in the classification. Yes. If there is a cavity, then they are called as coelomates. If there is no cavity, then it's called as acoelomate. The body cavity which is lined by the mesoderm is called as coelom. This is coelom. This space is called as coelom. If that body cavity is being lined by the mesoderm, this is mesoderm, the red part. When it's being lined by that mesoderm, then it's called as coelom. Animals possessing coelom are called coelomates. Example, annelidas, molluscas, arthropods, echinoderms are coelomates. You should make a note what all symmetric animals, what are all asymmetric, what all are coelomates, what phylums come under coelomates. You should remember all these points. Hemichordates and chordates. Some animals and the body cavity is not lined by the mesoderm. Instead, the mesoderm is present as the scattered pouches in between the ectoderm and endoderm. What he is saying that in some cases, as you can see, this is a pseudocoelomate. This is the mesoderm. It's not being present as a layer. Instead, it is like a pouch. It is being like a scattered pouch instead of being a layer. That's the reason why they're called as pseudocoelomates, which means false coelomates. Okay, they'll not be lined by the mesoderm. It will present as scattered pouches. That's called as pseudocoelomates. Okay, and animal possessing them are called pseudocoelomates. Example is Ascalaminthus. Ascalaminthus is a pseudocoelomate. Remember the point. Example of pseudocoelomates is Ascalaminthus. The animals in which the body cavity is absent are called Ascalaminthus. Example, Platyhelminthes is an acoelomate. The body cavity is absent means it's called as acoelomate. Segmentation. In some animals, the body is externally and internally divided into segments with a serial repetition. Serial repetition is a very important word you should remember of at least some organs. Some organs they'll be present serially, they'll be repeating serially, and that is known as segmentation. They might give you this sentence and they may ask you, what does it mean? It means segmentation or it means classification. What does it mean? We should say segmentation. For example, in earthworms, the body shows patterns like metameric segmentation. What kind of segmentation? Metameric segmentation is seen in the case of a cockroach. And the phenomena is known as metamerism. The presence of this segmentation and that phenomena is called as metamerism. Notochord. Notochord is a mesodermally derived rod-like structure formed on the dorsal side, not on the ventral side, okay, during the embryonic development in some animals. What you should remember is that notochord is what derived? It's mesodermally derived rod structure. It is dorsal side present and develops only during the embryonic development of some animals and not all the animals. All these are important points. Animals with notochord are called as chordates. If notochord is there, then they're called as chordates. If it's not there, then it's called as non-chordates. Example, porifera to echinodermates are non-chordates. Okay, that's the reason why I'm discussing all non-chordates from porifera to echinodermata. The first thing you should do is that you remember all the phylums names and remember all these examples which are given below. First remember by heart these examples, then later on you just go down at the last of this NCRT. You will be having a table in which will be written which is having what kind of circulatory system, reproductive system, and all these are given. This table is very much important. Okay, the first thing is this table. You have to remember this table so much clearly, like in which the cellular organization is being present. Cellula is being porifera, tissue levels and Coelenterata. Tissue is there in two classes, two phylums, Coelenterata and Ctenophora. Coelenterata is also called as Cnidaria. It's a very important thing. And after tissue level, the organ system. See, the organ system, organ system. You should remember this point very importantly. In case of Platyhelminthes, it can be organ organ system. Okay. So, from Platyhelminthes to the chordates, all have organ system, but only Coelenterata Ctenophora has tissues level. And porifera is the only one which has cellular. And symmetry is various in the case of porifera, radial in the case of both Coelenterata and Ctenophora, bilateral. See, bilateral from here to mollusca, bilateral. Echinodermatum, actually echinodermatum is having radial symmetry in the case of adult stage and bilateral symmetry in the larva stage. So what you should consider for echinodermata, if you ask me, you should consider bilateral symmetry if they mention larva stage. If they don't mention, also consider bilateral. Only in adult stage you have radial symmetry. Next is the hemichordata, which is also bilateral. Even the chordate is also bilateral. Next, coelom. Coelom is absent in the first four, okay? Porifera, Coelenterata, Ctenophora and Platyhelminthes. Till here, the coelom is absent. And in case of Ascalaminthus, you have pseudocoelom, which is false coelom. And from here, see it properly, from Annelida to chordates. You remember this table, you should remember the format, okay? You should remember this in a first, second, third, you should remember in a proper way. From annelida to chordates, you're having coelomates. Next is the segmentation. They have two types of segmentation, radial or bilateral. If there is no segmentation at all, then it's absent. Actually, the segmentation is absent in all, okay? In all it's absent except in these three: annelida, arthropoda, and this one which is chordata. Annelida, arthropoda are the only non-chordates which has segmentation. All chordates have segmentation. The next one is digestive system. Digestive system can be two types: open or closed. Let's see which has a digestive system and which does not have digestive system. So porifera is not having a digestive system, like it's completely absent, no digestive system at all. Cylinderatum, again cylinderatum, one second, clean this. Yeah, in cylinderatum there is a digestive system, but it is incomplete. Even for a digestive system is present, okay, it's there, but it's incomplete. What does incomplete mean? I just told you before. Means if it has only single opening, only one opening, and for both mouth and anus, if there is only single opening, then it's called as incomplete digestive system. If two openings are being present for both mouth and anus together, then it's called as complete digestive system. If it's absent, means no digestive system at all, does not have any opening at all, okay? So for only incomplete is seen in the three cases. Cylinderatum, Ctenophora, Platyhelminthes has incomplete digestive system. The other, from Aschelminthes to this chordata, it has complete digestive system. It's having two openings, okay? You should remember what is having complete, what is having incomplete, what does not have digestive system at all. The next is circulatory system. The circulatory system is absent in porifera. It's absent till Aschelminthes, okay? From porifera to Aschelminthes. From annelida is being present. From annelida it is present. The next one, even the respiratory system, it is absent till from porifera to Aschelminthes. So porifera to annelida, till porifera to annelida the respiratory system is absent, but after porifera, from the arthropoda, it is being present. The thing which you should understand is that the digestive system is being present from the Aschelminthes, the circulatory system is being present from annelida, the respiratory system is being present from the arthropoda. DCR, very important questions come from this part. Digestive system, circulatory system, and respiratory system. They might ask you from where the digestive system is being complete. Then you say Aschelminthes. From where the circulatory system is being present? From annelida. So you should remember this three A's, okay? And Aschelminthes, it's very important. Aschelminthes, from where the circulatory system is from where the digestive system is being present. From annelida, from where the circulatory system is being present. Arthropoda, from where the respiration system is being present. Respiratory system, not reproductive, okay? Respiratory. So the three A's for the DCR is very important. The special features are the distinctive features for porifera: body with pores and canals and walls. Cnidoblast is present in Cylinderata, Actinophora, home plates for locomotion. What is the locomotion? How is locomotion provided in case of Ctenophora? The mask. Then she say home plates, very important. And flat body and suckers are present. Flat elementous and worm shaped, elongated, nasty elementous body segmentation with like rings. Like wings means immediately you should remember that it's annelida. Okay, annelida. Then exoskeleton of cuticle jointed appendages. Jointed appendages is a very important point of arthropods. It even came in the year 2025 paper, jointed appendages. The external skeleton of shells, okay, is mollusca. Shells means immediately you should think of mollusca. If it's water canal system, the word water canal system, you should think immediately of echinodermata. Worm like with proboscis, collar, trunk. These are the three parts of the organisms or species present in hemichordata. In chordates, notochord and this having dorsal. No, all the chordates have notochords. They have dorsal hollow nerve cord, gill slits with limbs and fins. Just remember the 3 points: notochord, dorsal hollow nerve cord, notochord, nerve cord, then gill slits. The gill slits has both limbs and fins. This table is really very important. As I told you, try to remember the DCR points from the 3 A's it's starting: Ascalmens, Annelida and Arthropoda. The remaining we can learn easily, like it's not so much hard, you can learn it easily. I'll just tell you the highlighted points of each and every topic so that you can remember it more easier. Yeah. So this, try to remember even this mind map. The mind map which I told you beginning was also important. And the level of ciliary level is seen mostly in asymmetric, which is acoelomates, which is porifera phylum. Sponges come under porifera, I told you before. And radial, bilateral, and radial you have acoelomates, and 2 phylums again, Coelenterata and Actinophora. And tissue and organ you have bilateral without body cavity with false coelom. That's why false coelom means pseudocoelomates without body cavity, which means without coelom, means acoelomates. A means no coelom. With true coelom it's called coelomates. All these are coelomates. This is the only pseudocoelomate of false coelom is Ascalmenthus. The only acoelomate is Platyhelminths. From Annelida to chordates, all are coelomates. Remember in the order, okay? If you can't just remember in the order, I can give you a trick to remember this in an order. Wait. Try to remember this code. For all these phylums, I'll give you a code which you can remember. P, C, C, P, triple A, M, E, me, okay? Try to remember as PCCP, triple A, me, HC. Okay, so H means, so P means porifera, C means Coelenterata, the other C is Ctenophora, this is Platyhelminthus, Ascalmenthus, Annelida, Arthropoda, Mollusca, Echinodermata, Hemichordata, Chordata. So try to remember this code. For each and every code, I'll give you the other code also for examples. This is CES. This is MAPG. This is FT. This is AVAL. The Ascalmenthus NPH. Annelida is ecological importance. The other FT. Wait a second, guys. I did a mistake. Wait a second. So sorry. CP, FP. You may think what these are. These are all our example shortcuts. Because if you have an exam, like in one day, you need to prepare and write a test. It's really going to help you a lot. LP is a sad hop. AA is a CEO. Hemichordata, BS. So what these are, if you ask me, cess. What is cess? In the porifera. In porifera, you'll have sponges. Wait. In porifera, the examples are cycon, spongula, euspongia. So this refers cycon, spongula, euspongia. And again, the next one is Coelenterata, also called as Cnidaria. These examples are MapG. What is MapG, if you ask? See, M means Mandrina. A means Adamsia. P means Pinacula. The other P is Physalia. The G is Gorgonia. You should also remember the common names, which is very important. Okay, Physalia means Portuguese man of war. They may not ask you Physalia. They may give you these common names also, and they may ask you, this Portuguese man of war have this hypostome, polyp or medusa forms. They can ask you from the examples only. The examples are the most important point. So try to remember this code which I gave you here. All these are example codes. Now I'll discuss that. From porifera, if I explain you, the first one, you should remember the diagram also, which is very important. The first one is cycon, the second one is euspongia, and the third one is spongula. Okay. Porifera. Members of the phylum are commonly known as sponges. The common name for porifera are sponges. Remember that. Generally are marine. Mostly symmetric animals. These are primitive multicellular animals and have cellular level of organization. They have water transport or canal system. The important thing is that the sponges are having water transport or canal system is an important point. Generally marine is important. Primitive multicellular animals is an important, and cellular organization is something. Next, water enters through the minute pores called ostia. What is ostia? The minute pores which are present on the bodies of sponges, through which the water enters. The body wall into canals, cavity. The central cavity from ostia. So what he's saying that from ostia it's going to the spongiocele. What is going from ostia? The water. Water is going from ostia to spongiocele, which is the body cavity, from where it goes out through the osculum. Then the water again goes out of the body through the osculum. This pathway of water transport is helpful in gathering food. So the water is being transported inside like this and again out. Why it's happening? All this thing is happening which helps in food gathering. So this helps in food gathering. Remember this once. Then respiratory exchange is taking place and removal of waste is taking place because of this water pathway. And cainocytes or collar cells are lined by the spongiocele and the canals. Digestion is intracellular. Remember this, digestion is intracellular. The body is supported by a skeleton made up of spicules or spongin. The skeleton is being made up by spicules or spongin in the case of sponges or porifera phylum. The sexes are not separate. If they are not separate, they are called as hemichordates. These are very important points you should remember. Who is the hemichordate? Hermaphrodite? It's hermaphrodite. This porifera is hermaphrodite because the sexes are not separate. Means only one organism is having both male and female sexes. So it's hermaphrodite. Eggs and sperms are produced by the same individual. Sponges reproduce asexually by fragmentation. Asexual reproduction is by fragmentation. Sexual formation is by the formation of gametes. Remember that how asexual is taking place means fragmentation. Sexual is by formation of gametes. Fertilization is internal and the development of is indirect. Indirect development is same. Why is indirect means it's having not one. It's not mentioned here, but it's having a larval stage. As it is having a larval stage, it's indirect development in which the morphologically distinct from the adult. That is about sponges or porifera. Then the Coelenterata. Coelenterata, they're aquatic, mostly marine, sessile or free swimming. You should remember that even the porifera was marine, generally marine. Sessile or free swimming. Sessile means fixed. They can be fixed in a place or they can be a free swimming. They are radially symmetrical animals and the name Cnidaria is derived. Why Cnidoblastis is also called as Cnidaria? The question is asked. It's because cnidoblast or cnidocytes which contain a stinging capsule or nematocytes. Cnidoblast or cnidocytes which contain a stinging capsule. They have a stinging capsule or nematocytes. The stinging capsule are also called as nematocytes. Are present as tentacles on their body. But their body is like this, okay? There are some tentacles present on the body of Coelenterata. That is the reason why it's known as Cnidaria. Next, cnidoblasts are used for anchorage, defense, the capture of prey. They may ask you for what the cnidoblasts are used. Very important. They have asked many times for anchorage, defense, capture prey. Remember the 3 points. For this thing, the cnidoblasts or the tentacles which are present on the body, which are nematocytes, are useful for these 3 things. Cnidarians exhibit tissue level of organization and are called diploblastic. As they're called diploblastic because they have 2 layers. I told you, one ectoderm and endoderm. They have a central gastrovascular cavity with a single opening. They have only one opening. And mouth on hypostome. Digestion is extracellular, not intra. Sponges, it was intra. Okay, they have both extra and intra, okay? They have both extra and intracellular digestion. Some of the cnidarians, example corals, have a skeleton composed of calcium carbonate. Calcium carbonate, CaCO3. Corals are present in some, not all, in some of the cnidoblasts. Cnidarians exhibit 2 basic bodies, which is polyp form and medusa form. The former, which is the sessile form. The former, he's saying that the former, which is the polyp form, is sessile form. What is sessile means? I told you, it is a fixed form, means it does not move. Okay, does not move. And medusa form, it is free swimming form. The sessile form is cylindrical and form like hydra. Example for polyp is hydra. See, this is polyp form, the B. This is polyp form. This is medusa form. The umbrella shape is medusa form. The cylindrical is polyp. Cylindrical is polyp. Umbrella is medusa form. Cylindrical polyp. Remember, these points are very, very important. So examples are Hydra and Adamsia for polyp forms. For medusa form, the examples are Aurelia, jellyfish, those cnidaries which exist in both alternation of generation, metagenesis. So what I say in the other thing is that there are some species in this cnidoplast, they exhibit two forms, both polyp form and also medusa form. Sometimes they show polyp, the other sometimes they show medusa, again polyp. So this like alternation. This alternation of generation is known as metagenesis. It's mentioned here, it's metagenesis. Next, polyps produce medusa asexual. It's a very important point. Another one you should remember is that, I'll tell you in a shortcut. P to M, it happens asexually. If there is a polyp form and it wants to convert into medusa form, it happens asexually. So PM is asexual. But MP, okay, if M wants to convert into polyp form, means a free swimming want to convert into the sessile form, it is sexually. The organism which is showing this metagenesis, which is converting into PM and MP again, example is Obelia. Obelia is the example which is given here, okay? Check it out. Obelia. The examples you should remember. Next one is Ctenophora. This diagram you should remember, they might ask you. This is the diagram of Pleurobrachia. Pleurobrachia is an example of Ctenophora. Then the examples of Ctenophora again I'll show you. See. C for Coelenterata, the other C for Coelenterata. I wrote CP. C means Ctenoplana, P means Pleurobrachia. So CP. Try to remember the shortcuts so it will help you in exam. Or you can remember this directly if you can. So Ctenophora, commonly known as sea walnuts or comb jellies, who is commonly known as sea walnut or comb jellies. Very important one is that Ctenophora is called as sea walnuts or comb jellies commonly. Next, they're exclusively marine. What does exclusively marine mean? Means they're only present in marine environment and not in freshwater environment. That's why it's exclusively marine. If they ask you which one is exclusively marine in the following and give you exam like options like first option Porifera, second option is Coelenterata, third option is Ctenophora, you should correct Ctenophora because Ctenophora is one which is exclusively marine. These are just generally marine. So radial symmetry is seen in Ctenophora and diploblastic organisms with tissue level formalization. The body bears external 8 rows, very important, 8 external rows of ciliated comb plates. 8 external rows of ciliated comb plates is seen in the case of Ctenophora. Means like this, 8 external rows are present, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And these plates will be having like this comb plates, okay? These are called as comb plates. All this will help them in locomotion or anything like that. Next one, the special thing is bioluminescence. Bioluminescence is a very special feature present in only in Ctenophora. Bioluminescence, the property of living organisms to emit light. What does bioluminescence mean? It means that there is an organism which belongs to the phylum Ctenophora. This is an organism. This can emit light like a sun. It can emit its own light. That's the reason why it's called bioluminescence property. Is well marked in xenophora. Sexes are not separate. If they're not separate, then it's called as hermaphrodite condition. Hermaphrodites condition means sexes are not separate. They're present together in one organism. Reproduction takes place only by sexual means in the case of ctenophora, and fertilization is external and indirect development. Just now I told you indirect development means it should definitely have some larval stage. Some larval stage. Tadpole is a larval stage of frog. So if any species is having this kind of larval stage before developing into an adult, that is called as indirect development. Next, platyhelminthes. They have dorso-ventrally flattened body. Important line. Not ventrally dorsal. It is dorso-ventrally. Hence they are called as flatworm. Why they are called as flatworm? Because they have dorsal-ventrally flattened body. Mostly are endoparasites. Not all, but mostly. Found in animals including human beings. They are also found in some human beings. Flatworms are bilateral, have bilateral symmetry. Triploblastic, acoelomates, with organs level of organization. Hooks and suckers is another important point you should remember, are present in the parasitic forms. Only in the parasitic forms. They might ask you, in which phylums parasitic form the hooks and suckers are present. They might give you options as Porifera, Coelenterata, Ctenophora, or Platyhelminthes. They should tick Platyhelminthes because it is the one which is having hooks and suckers in the parasitic form. Some of them absorb nutrients from the host directly through their body surface. It can also, not all of them, but some of the platyhelminthes can absorb nutrients directly from the body surface. Specialized cells called flame cells. That the important point is that flame cells. Flame cells are present in the platyhelminthes, which helps in the osmoregulation and excretion. What is the characteristics of these flame cells present in the platyhelminthes? Flame cells present in platyhelminthes, they helps in osmoregulation. Note down this, and excretion. Osmoregulation and excretion. Sexes are not separate. Okay, means hermaphrodite condition is seen even in platyhelminthes. Hermaphrodite condition is seen. Fertilization is internal. Development is through many larval stages. So it is indirect development. As there are many larval stages, it's indirect development. Members like planaria possess high regeneration capacity. A question which is being asked for many years. Planaria is the one belonging to the phylum Platyhelminthes and has high regeneration capacity. Example, Taenia and Fasciola. Tapeworm, Fasciola means liver fluke, common name. Remember the diagram? The first one, this is Taenia. This chain-like structure is Taenia. This is liver fluke, also known as Fasciola, which is the Fasciole is a scientific name. Just two examples. Ascaleminthus. The body of Ascaleminthus is circular in cross section, hence name roundworm. Okay, remember this. Who is called as flatworm? Platyhelminthes is called as flatworm. Who is called as roundworm? Ascaleminthus is called as roundworm. In its Ascaleminthus, the male will be shorter, the female will be longer. They might give you the two structures and they ask which one is a male and which is a female. The longer one is female and the shorter one is the male. Okay, short. They may be free living, aquatic, terrestrial, or parasitic in plants and animals. Roundworms have organ system level of organization. They are bilateral, symmetrical, triploblastic, pseudocoelomates animals. This is the only pseudocoelomate, Ascaleminthus. This phylum, species belonging to this phylum are pseudocoelomates. Alimentary canal is complete. It's complete and well developed muscular pharynx. The important point in this whole thing is this muscular pharynx. When they say muscular pharynx or when they say pseudocoelomates, immediately you should get into your mind that is they're talking about Ascaleminthus. A excretory tube removes body waste from the body cavity through the excretory pore. It has an excretory pore. Who has this excretory pore? Ascaleminthus, which removes the waste, body waste, from the body cavity. Okay, from the body cavity. Sexes are separate, dioecious. So remember, dioecious means sexes are separate. Monoecious means or hermaphrodite means sexes are not separate. Important point. So what he's saying, who is dioecious? Ascaleminthus. Ascaleminthus is dioecious. Next, males and females are distinct. Often females are longer than males. That's what I told you before. Fertilization is internal. Development may be direct or direct. The young ones resemble the adult or indirect. It can be both direct and indirect development. For this roundworms or Ascaleminthus, it has both direct and indirect development. And the old one, younger one, resembles the adult is an important line. Examples: Ascaleminthus, Wuchereria, and Calostoma. Annelida. They may be aquatic, they can be marine or freshwater or terrestrial, free living and sometimes parasitic. They exhibit organ system level of organization, bilateral symmetry, triploblastic, metamerically segmented. Important line. Annelidates are metamerically segmented, and coelomate animals, the body surface is distinctly marked into segments or metameres, or metameres, and hence the phylum Annelida. In Latin, annulus means the little ring. Annulus means little ring. In which language? Latin. They possess longitudinal and circular muscles. Another important point. What kind of muscles they have means longitudinal and circular muscles, which help in locomotion. These muscles helps in locomotion of Annelida. Aquatic annelids like Nereis possess lateral appendages. The lateral appendage is called parapodium. The other important point which you should remember is that There is a species involved in the phylum Annelida, which is Nereis. Nereis. It has parapodia. If you ask me what is this parapodia, this is the picture of Nereis. The thing which you see here, these are called as lateral appendages. These lateral appendages, you see, are called as the parapodia. This parapodia helps them in swimming. A closed circular system is present in the case of annelids. It's closed. Nephridia helps in osmoregulation and excretion, just like flame cells in platyhelminthes. Nephridia is present in the case of Annelida for osmoregulation and what else? Excretion. Same, this function is done by the flame cells I told you before in platyhelminthes. But nephridia in the case of annelida, flame cells in the case of platyhelminthes. Remember this point. Next, neural system consists of paired ganglia. Paired ganglia is present in the neural system, so it's called as ganglion, connected by the lateral nerves to the double ventral nerve cord. It's a very important line which you should remember. From here to here, you should remember this line, that these lateral nerves are connected not to the dorsal, okay, to the ventral. This word is very important. Ventral nerve cord. The lateral nerves are connected to which nerve cord? Ventral nerve cord. In the case of annelida neural system. Lateral nerves are connected to the ventral nerve cord. Ventral. Are connected to ventral nerve cord of annelida. Next, other aquatic dioecious means sexes are separate or non-separate. Sexes are separate, so dioecious. But earthworm and leeches are monoecious. Sexes are not separate. Nereis, the thing is that in annelida there is Nereis, there is earthworm and leech. Nereis is dioecious, means sexes are separate. But earthworm and leeches are monoecious. Sexes are not separate. So they can also be called as hermaphrodite. Note down this. And the reproduction is sexual in the case of annelids. Examples are Nereis, Peritima, also earthworm. Hirudinaria means blood-sucking leech. This is an image of Hirudinaria. Hirudinaria, the second image, also known as blood-sucking leech. The next is Arthropoda, then Mollusca, Echinodermata. You just have 4 more phyla. Arthropoda is the first largest. You need to remember is that the first largest phylum is Arthropoda. The second largest phylum is Mollusca in non-chordates, okay? Animalia, which includes insects. Insects are included in the Arthropoda. Insects like, the first one is locust, second butterfly, third scorpion, fourth prawns. Over 2/3 means 2/3 of all the species on the earth are arthropods. Next, the organ system level of organization, the bilateral symmetrical triploblastic cemented coelomate animals, they have the body is covered by chitinous, very important line, remember this. Chitinous exoskeleton is present in arthropods. Chitinous exoskeleton. The body consists of head, thorax, and abdomen. It has three parts: head, thorax, abdomen. In arthropoda, they have jointed appendages also. The jointed appendages are seen in arthropoda. Arthros means joint, poda means appendages. Respiratory organs are gills, book lungs, or tracheal system. Organ systems are organs. Respiratory organs are four: gills, book lungs. The book lungs, or I can say tracheal system. The circulatory system is open type in an arthropoda. Sensory organs like antenna, eyes, it can be compound or simple eye, statocysts or balancing organs are present. The another important point you should remember is that the arthropods have a balancing organ in arthropods called as statocysts, which is a sensory organ. Even the antennae, eyes, which can be compound eye or simple eye, are sensory. All these are sensory organs. What are the sensory organs of arthropods, they may ask? You should say antennae, eyes, statocysts, also known as balancing organ. So this next, excretion takes place through malphizian tubules. In the case of arthropoda, malphizian tubules are present in arthropods for excretion. They are mostly dioecious, means X are separate. Mostly, not all, mostly dioecious. Fertilization is usually internal. They are mostly oviparous. Oviparous means egg-laying. Arthropoda are mostly oviparous. Oviparous means egg-laying animals or species. Development may be direct or indirect, means they can have larval stage or not. They may not have larval stage. Examples: economically important insects, you should remember this. Apis means honeybee, bombax, silkworm, lacifer, lac insect. Vectors, the vectors are Anopheles, culex, Aedes mosquitoes. The gregarious pest is locust. Living fossil is Lemulus king crab. They might ask you, what is the gregarious pest? You may say immediately it's Locusta. Which phyla does this gregarious pest belong to? They may ask. Then you should say it's Arthropoda. Then they may ask, does this gregarious pest have jointed appendages? Then yes, you should say it has jointed appendages. See, what are the three parts of this gregarious pest? They should say abdomen, head, thorax, which I told you here before. See, which I told you here before. Malphizian tubules. The examples are very important. What are the vectors in arthropoda? They ask, you should remember. You should say this: Anopheles, culex, Aedes mosquitoes. All these are arthropods. Next, mollusca. Second largest, I told you before. Mollusca, terrestrial, aquatic, marine, or freshwater, have an organ system of organization, bilateral, symmetrical, triploblastic, coelomate animals. This is a common thing, which is seen common thing. If you learn that last table, you will automatically get all this information. You need not worry about this part. In every paragraph, this part which is given, you need not worry the first part. If you will by heart the last table which I told you, you can get it. The body is covered with calcareous pus. This is a very important line. The body is covered by calcareous shell only in the case of mollusca. It's unsegmented with a distinct head. It's unsegmented. It has distinct head, muscular, foot, and visceral hump. Three parts: head, muscular, foot, and visceral hump. A soft and spongy layer of skin forms a mantle over the visceral hump. What is saying that there is a visceral hump in the case of mollusca. This hump which is there, on top of this hump, uh, on top of this hump there is a layer, soft layer, which forms the mantle. The soft layer forms the mantle over the visceral hump, the space between the hump and the mantle. So this mantle and this hump, has some space in between them. This space is present between the hump and the mantle. This is hump, and the top layer, this is mantle. This middle layer is called as mantle cavity. Mantle cavity, in which the feather-like gills are present. In this mantle cavity, what is present? Gills are present. Feather-like gills. Feather-like gills. They have respiratory and excretory function, and the anterior head region has sensory tentacles. The mouth contains a file-like rasping organ or feeding called radula. Molluscs have a file-like rasping organ called radula. Important point. The other important point is the sensory tentacles is present in not posterior but anterior head. Okay. Next two parts, only just two parts left. They're dioecious. Who is dioecious? Mollusca is dioecious. Sexes are separate. Oviparous means egg laying, and indirect development means has larva stage. It has larva stage. Examples are these: Paella, pink dada, Sepia, Loligo, Octopus, Aplysia, Dentalium, Clytopura. The brackets are common names. You should learn that also. Then the first one, A, is Asteriasis. The second, B, is Ophiuria. These are examples for Echinodermata. Echinodermata are animals have endoskeleton of calcareous ossicles. Calcareous shell means mollusca. Okay, shell means mollusca. If they don't say shell, if they say ossicles, then it's Echinodermata. There's a huge difference. The name Echinodermata means spiny body. What does it mean? It means spiny body. All the marine with organ system level of organization. The adult echinoderms are radial symmetry. I told the adults are radial symmetrical. The embryo is having bilateral symmetry. So what if they ask you in the question what kind of symmetry is present in Echinodermata, you should consider this embryo stage. You should say bilateral symmetry and not radial. Okay, it's a bilateral. They particularly ask you what is the adult symmetry of Echinodermata, then you should say radial. Next, the symmetry, radial symmetry, but larva is bilateral symmetry. The triploblastic coelomate animal's digestive system is complete digestive with mouth on the lower side, means ventral side. Anus is present on the upper side, dorsal side. Anus first, mouth second. Okay, in the case of Echinodermata, mouth is present in upper part, dorsal part. Anus is present in the upper part. Mouth is present in the lower part or the ventral part. The most distinctive feature of echinoderms is presence of water. Important one. Water vascular system means Echinodermata, which helps in the locomotion capture and transport of food and respiration. Any excretory system is absent. Sexes are separate. Reproduction is sexual, fertilization is usually external, development is indirect, and free swimming larva. The hemichordata is a very easy one. The important points are worm like proboscis, collar, trunk parts are present in the cylindrical body of the hemichordates. That's it.